This hangout is live. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening or good morning, afternoon, wherever you are around the big, wide planet that we're on. Is it flat or round? I keep seeing this story on Facebook. Is the world round or flat? But it doesn't really matter as long as we've got oxygen to breathe and we can carry on for the next 24 hours. It really doesn't matter whether it is round or flat. So just checking we are live here. We've got a couple, we've got 4 people already watching. G'day, g'day. Just say hello in the chat box and just say which country you're in. It'll be very interesting to see where people are watching at this time. We've come on 1 hour early because we managed to get finally the owner of the company, Bill Rowell, video and sound all in the one motion. He's in Germany. He's just come back from Dubai and the US. He has 2,575,000 frequent flyer points because he's he's all over the place. He's like a full forward in AFL on heat, and be out here in Australia, which is very, very good for us here in Australia. We're going to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and the Gold Coast. And I've done numerous posts. We've got a lot of people going to be catching up with you, Bill, and Claudia, who's coming out as well. So Claudia's jumping on in about 15 minutes. She's just come back from she's driven, like I said, Bill said, about 800 kilometres. So she'll be jumping on in a few minutes. So it's a very good morning to you, Bill. It's 6:05 here in Brisbane. It's a very good morning to you. How are you going?
You're going well, Keithy. Always great to be on your calls. Sorry, I was available last week, of course, but the internet in these hotels are not so good sometimes. So I apologise. I apologise for that.
That's all right, mate. We've got Lloyd from Somerset in the UK. We've got Michelle from Queensland who've said where they're coming from. So the rest of you watching, just throw in where you're actually watching the live feed from, and that'd be great to get a bit of feedback. So we are a worldwide business, Bill, and there's obviously the world, in any business you're in, it changes rapidly every day. The government makes a decision, a private business makes a decision, a major corporation makes a decision, your local supermarket chain makes a decision and changes things that you think were just going along nicely. The price of petrol in Australia is ridiculous. It's about, I use, for my four-wheel drive, I use 98 premium fuel. I pay between $1.65 a litre up to $1.80 a litre Australian. I don't know how that compares in Switzerland or Germany for 1 litre. But that changes every day, that changes. So you can't really get upset about it. It's just a lottery. You just got to accept what it is and carry on with it because you need fuel for your vehicle. So in some of these industries that we're attached to, whether it be supermarket or food or petrol or clothing, we don't have control really of what's given to us from the suppliers we go to, whether that be your local shop or the government. As far as my car registration jumped up from, for 6 months, jumped up from $350 to $390 just for 6 months. So that's that's over 10%, bang, just like that. No question, you just got to pay it or you can't register your vehicle. So a lot of things in our life are out of our control. Obviously, the Bitcoin price is another one. We don't want to get started on that because that's up and down at the moment through obvious reasons. 61.46 right now. That's up 4.66% in the last 24 hours. So that's crazy, the environment we're in. And on the Crypto Compare calculator, our earnings are about 30 cents per terahash. So our maintenance fee is 28 cents for the older contracts. The brand new ones that are out are 14 cents per terahash. So our older contracts are still earning. Now, if it ducks down below 28 cents per terahash earning on the Crypto Compare, which is pretty close to what we're earning, it'll have to stay there for 60 days. But if it comes back up to 30 cents or 31 cents, then that stops. And I'll get you to correct me, Bill, that 60 days dipping below the earning, making it unprofitable. I want to get that quite clear for members that it has to stay there for 60 consecutive days, every day for 60 days. But if it comes back up again, if Bitcoin's just jumped 4%, if it jumps another 7% tomorrow and goes to 7,000 again, then we're well above the 28 cents. So then that just goes back to normal. We're not in that 60-day period. So in a part of our time right now in 2018, 25th of June, halfway through the year already, this year has gone in a flash. It has just gone so quick. You've done lots and lots of work on many countries with different companies to evolve Swiss Gold Global to help us as members build generational wealth through gold and silver, cryptocurrency mining, and now our ICOs coming up. So you're always looking to expand the business, Bill. So to make a long story short, g'day, Claudia, thanks for joining us. The world we're living in is constantly changing. We have to evolve. We have to be on our toes. We can't be flat-footed, as I keep telling my soccer team. If you're in an attack defending situation, you can't be caught flat-footed in a game. Can't be caught flat-footed in a life. Otherwise, you get left behind. You give people 2 or 3 meters and they're away and they'll score a goal against you. You have to be on your toes. And that means you have to be fresh. You have to have lots of energy and you have to have a business plan. I believe we're on the right track with you as our CEO, Bill, that you do have a plan. So can you expand a little bit on what's been going on for you in the last, say, 2, 3, 4 weeks? Throw your mic off.
I might get you to put yours off then, because I don't get the feedback then, Keithy, if you don't mind. Great to be here. Welcome, Claudia, Keithy, and everyone joining us from different parts of the world. It's great to finally be on a call. But you're right, the world never stays still. It's always changing and evolving, and some things that evolves we don't like. One is of course the cost of living, and that is certainly increasing. Keithy just spoke about registration increases, and I know Claudia might remember this from many years ago. We did some examples of what it costs to register a horseless carriage back in the late 1800s, and compared it to how much gold it took to register a horseless carriage, and then compared it to where it was. I think it might have been around 2008 what it cost the registration. Compared to gold as a currency, the registration hadn't changed because gold preserves its buying value. But compared to the Australian dollar, I think the exercise was actually done, the registration of a horseless carriage in Tasmania when we did it actually. When compared to the Australian dollar or another currency, of course, the increase has been substantial because our fiat currencies are deflationary. They're buying less, inflationary. They're buying less all the time. And that's what you're experiencing. Claudia has just come back from Prague, I believe, and also from Dresden, now in Wiesbaden. She's driven a lot of kilometres, so she's had to pay for diesel, of course. Well, you speak about fuel prices in Australia. I can tell you right now in Switzerland, they're probably around about $2.40 Australian per litre. So you might complain about it in Australia. It's a lot more expensive in Switzerland. Of course, it's also relative to incomes as well, in one respect. I mean, there's some relativity there, but the whole point is, currencies, when I say currencies, they're always changing. When it comes to fiat currencies, which is issued by a government, they're backed by nothing. And they keep printing it. They keep increasing the monetary supply. Now, the Federal Reserve Bank of Australia, if you look back the last 10, 15 years, of how they've increased the monetary supply in Australia, it's more than probably triple. They've substantially increased it, and that's why you see the prices going. We think that our real estate prices are going up. We think we're wealthy. Australia is one of the most indebted countries in the world per capita when you look at your research, which is a tragedy because most people don't understand it, and I won't pretend that I understand it all either. But primary reason that we see the prices increasing on real estate and other assets is because the government, Central European Bank, Federal Reserve in America, the Reserve Bank in Australia, which is a tiny effect on the rest of the world, of course, in one respect, but it affects domestically, it affects people in Australia, and the exchange rates, of course, of the value of your money, what it can actually purchase. And this is what we're seeing around the world. Cryptocurrency came as a solution, because I believe it came out around 2008, 2009. The white paper was written, as you know, Keithy, and it was written as a peer-to-peer payment system, a decentralized peer-to-peer payment system, but really of one twist. And that is this payment system, the blockchain technology payment platform, with a currency called Bitcoin would have limited supply, which would mean that it wouldn't have the same, in theory, inflationary effects as what government currencies have had over many, many years, which really is a transfer of wealth away from people back to the central banking system. Inflation is purely by design to transfer wealth away from you, Keithy, back to the government and to the central bankers. That's all it does. Transfers wealth away from you, from generations, back to the central planners. And when you understand that, you realize you have to do other things if you want to preserve your wealth and build your wealth. This is something I had to learn, you know. If I go back to the early 90s, actually mid-80s in Australia, when I first bought my business, I was all about making money. I was out there, hungry animal out there, lying, as making as much as I could. But I never understood wealth preservation and assets, you know. And I always thought that, you know, you had targets to buy real estate, you had targets to buy businesses or different things, but these asset prices kept growing in price. You could never really meet your target. It was like it was an illusion. It was always moving away. And that's because of what the central banks do. They keep printing the money, which of course gives us the inflationary effect. So this is why I got involved with gold and silver, because I understood it's deflationary. It preserves its wealth, as Claudia teaches on all of her webcasts. And secondly, when cryptocurrency came to the market, as we refer to Bitcoin as gold 2.0, to me it was a no-brainer. Decentralized system, but also the characteristics of gold. Now, it doesn't have 5,000 years of monetary preservation like gold or silver in that respect. It's still relatively new. I mean, the white paper was only done 10 years ago, and we've only really seen the breakout or the increase in adoption probably the last 2 years, to be quite honest. And still most people don't know anything about it, to be quite honest. But last year, you know, you said the price is about 6,150. It's very volatile at the moment. But we've seen some major changes in Bitcoin and its adoption. We've seen in America it can be traded as a commodity on the largest exchanges in the world. So that's fantastic. On one side, it's fantastic. On the other side, it means they can also manipulate the price a bit because the adoption is not big enough yet, I believe, because you've got these traders in Wall Street, etc., or who trade these contracts, they never actually have to own Bitcoin, but they can trade it long, which means they think the price is going up. They can trade it short, means they can think the price is going down. They can make money either way. So they're speculating, and that does affect the market too, of course. But where it is right now, I was speaking with Genesis Mining last week, and to this particular point, none of our contracts have failed. No contracts have failed at this particular time. And as you correctly said, Keithy, the determination for that, as per the terms and conditions, when you buy, we speak about this pretty much. I know Claudia mentions it every week on her calls. We've spoken about managing your risk, understanding what you're buying. It's your responsibility to understand what you buy. We're all adults here. Is that there is risk associated with that. On the other side, there's great upside. I mean, the returns that people had last year and the beginning of this year have been absolutely outstanding. I mean, if you bought a contract with us in 2016, now those contracts, which had a maintenance fee of 35 cents, they started around about November 2016, and the 35-cent maintenance fee lasted until about the 14th of December 2016. Now, those contracts have not been profitable, meaning that the payout did not exceed the actual maintenance fee. So what does that mean? Since about the 11th or 12th of June this month, they have not been paying out. The contracts are still valid, but they can't pay out because the payout is less than the maintenance fee, which is logic, of course. Okay, but the contracts are still there. Now, if we have a spike in Bitcoin price to 7,000, whatever it might be, that exceeds the 35 cents, even for one day, and you get a payout on that particular contract, the counter for 60 consecutive days, which determines whether the contract will terminate or not, will start fresh again. It's reset. So the counter is reset. You might have 8 weeks. You might have 7 weeks on non-profitability, and in the last week before it hits to the termination clause, you start to get some positive payouts. The contract, it survives. It's actually valid, and it will continue until it again goes into negative territory. And when it does go into negative territory, the counter will again be reset starting from day one up to a period of 60 days. And when you look at the infrastructure, and I know Claudia has visited the mining sites in Iceland, I've been to Sweden as well. You look at the infrastructure that's involved with these mining farms. I mean, it's mind-blowing. The tens of millions of dollars that are invested. We're not just talking about the mining rig. The mining rig is just one part of it. It's a small part of it. But the contracts to service providers, the power supplies and different things like that, the buildings structures, the security systems they have in, the technology to monitor these, tens of thousands of rigs is really quite amazing. So there's lots of associated costs with that. Now, it's relatively new, the whole mining environment, and certainly the environment we're in right now, really since December, I would say, January this year, it's completely new. We haven't really experienced this. We've had a bit of a luxury period where it's been growth. The last 18 months in Bitcoin, we've seen the price break out. It's been fantastic, and we just think, oh, this is just going to go to the moon. But of course, nothing always continues to go up. There's always a period where there's going to be consolidation and change and sell-offs and things, and that's what we're experiencing right now. But with that said, I think Genesis Mining bringing out their new contracts, because they have a lot more history now. They have a few years history of doing experience. Remember, even though they're one of the first market movers and probably one of the most experienced mining companies in the world, certainly one of the largest, certainly the most efficient, no question about that. And the management team, they're just absolutely fantastic. They also had to learn. They've only been in the game a few years. We're not talking about a company that's been around 10, 20 years here. This is a new technology company in a new sector, which is also very volatile for them. And the technology, the microchips for mining, the rigs have changed so much. I mean, if I look at their maintenance fees, they sent me through after we had our call about 10 days ago, Katie. Some of the maintenance fees were 90 cents, 95 cents when they first started out. I suppose, and the reason being would be that the chip technology and the mining rigs, it wasn't that efficient. Second part is the contracts with electricity prices, how they can negotiate. I mean, they had to learn all this stuff. So to be able to come out now and have a contract at 14 cents maintenance fee, fixed term for 5 years is absolutely outstanding. I mean, it's fantastic. Yes, our other contracts may be at risk, That's just the nature of the game that we're in. We all know that when we get involved into this particular business. But I'm a long-term believer in cryptocurrency as a currency. Okay, I'm not there just for the monetary gain that, okay, I'm going to buy a mining contract and I'm going to get 40% return on my investment in the first 12 months or something like that. I mean, many people got 3x, 4x returns last year. It was really fantastic, as you well know, Keithy. But I'm there because I want to accumulate Bitcoin as a currency. I have a long-term view regarding Bitcoin as being a real adopted currency, just like I own, let's say, the Swiss franc, the US dollar, the euro, the Australian dollar, etc. I want to own Bitcoin as well. So I want to have longevity in my mining. So having a contract that is valid for 5 years, with certainty, with a maintenance fee of only 14 cents, no one in the marketplace, no real company in the marketplace, I believe, will be able to match that, to be quite honest. They just won't have the technology, the efficiency, or the experience behind them. So I think it's absolutely fantastic regarding that. But it's just important that everyone, when you get engaged with things, we always say you've got to do your due diligence. There is always risk associated when you buy these things, and especially when you're buying something that we see perceived high return. Perceived high return always comes with what? Higher risk of engagement in one sense. But the way we design Swiss Gold Global, personally, there's really no need for anyone to put anything really at risk. You can get started with, I think it was $25 or $28 or $30. You could get engaged with us, and you could even receive free mining contracts if you work the business a bit as a free customer. So, it's I'm very positive about it. I'm certainly aware of the risk of some of the mining contracts because I certainly own some. I know Claudia certainly owns some and got money invested there. So I'm conscious of it. And we'd all like to see the Bitcoin price and the adoption increase, of course, and the rewards increase. That is a no-brainer. We all want that. This is an unknown territory. No one has a crystal ball regarding this. If you look at some of the experts out there, some are still speaking, some magnificent numbers. Will we achieve it? I don't know. To be quite honest, I don't know. But I'm here because I want to mine for Bitcoin. So every day, when my contracts are valid, I'm getting paid out a bit in Bitcoin because I believe this will be, long term, will be another currency is going to be used. And we've had many great, I know Claudia does a lot of research. We've had many great people, even in authoritarian positions such as regulators, come out and make statements regarding cryptocurrency as well, which has been, when I say cryptocurrency, primarily supported towards Bitcoin in that respect. So that's my feeling on it, Keithy. I think we've lost Keithy.
No, all good. Nothing technical. Just quietening the dogs down. They're getting a bit noisy. With that, the date, I know because I started over a year ago. You mentioned that the maintenance fee through Genesis was started at 90 cents way back. I started in May last year. So have you any idea when we changed from 35 cents to 28 cents, which I think most people will have contracts with a 28 cents bill, or Claudia?
Yeah, sure, Keithy. As I said, the contract starting up in November of 2016 with 35 cents maintenance fee per terahash. Then around about the 14th or 15th of December, it went down. I think it went down to 32 cents or 31 cents, something like that. And then on the 31st of January 2017, or certainly the start of February 2017, they switched to 28 cents.
Okay, so basically from all of last year and this year, it's been 28 cents. And the majority of our members have started buying contracts, I'd suggest, in that last 18 months. There would have been a few early people in early November, December, January 2016 into early 2017 when most of the crypto members started buying contracts. So that's good for members to know that 28 cents. And if you go to the calculator that we use, I did it just before today's price. It's still each terahash is earning 30 cents per terahash. So we haven't even reached the 28 cent maintenance fee yet on the old contracts. So
correct. Yeah. And the other thing is, listen, even the contracts that I bought myself in 2016, they're not paying out now. I'm aware of that. So they're on the countdown. But you know what? I've done exceptionally well from them. I know that I've made 3 or 4 times the money on those contracts, And of course, I don't want them to expire. We all want longevity out of these contracts and keep mining for us, because I have quite a few there. But that's just the nature of the beast, and the game that we're in one sense. I'm also very grateful of the returns that I got on those 2016 contracts. The big one's going to be the 28 cent ones, of course. And most people who got engaged with them at the start of the year would have certainly middle of the year or so, they would have done very well out of them, got the money back. It's probably the ones later on at the part of the year, later on towards the end of 2007, maybe the time is still a bit too short for those. I haven't done the numbers on that. But anyway, they're still profitable. So there's no point in us speaking about them not being profitable. We know what the terms and conditions are when we buy a contract. That's how they were the old contracts. The new contracts is that you have 5 years fixed term. And that is a fantastic certainty to have. You just know where you are. Then you just got to decide how much you want to have and how much you want to diversify into this currency called Bitcoin, if you believe in that protocol or you don't believe in that protocol as a currency.
Yeah. Now that's what I've got a question from Lloyd. He bought contracts 30th of December 2016, would have been at 35 or 32 cents. But they didn't change to 28 cents when at a particular date. Whenever you bought it on that particular day, that's the maintenance fee that you're locked into. So obviously, Lloyd is saying that.
Sorry for cutting over, because I've only got about 5 minutes left, Keithy. I'm going to go to this other call. And the reason for that is that the rigs change. I mean, if you look at the changes of the ASIC rigs and different mining rigs coming into the market at different periods of the time. Not just that, then you're going to start speaking about the premises. And the third thing, of course, is the contract of electricity supply. I mean, I remember last year we were in Iceland. We were told that the electricity global cost was around about 2 million euros per month. So if you come in, and you got X amount of buying power that you're going to use X amount of megawatts, and they negotiate a price, because they're all over the world too. You negotiate a price with electricity supply at so much per kilowatt price. You accept that, and all of a sudden you expand. I mean, their mining farms expanded significantly last year. All of a sudden, the metal rod requirements that they had increased, so they could go back to different suppliers and say, hey, we want to buy this from you, and they can probably cut a better deal. That's the way it works, of course. But it's progressive, and that's one of the main reasons I've seen, I believe, the change in the maintenance fees, especially throughout 2015, 16, and 17, primarily 16 to 17, is I think it's really because two things. The changes of the chip, of the chips that are used in the actual the rigs, and secondly, probably the supply of electricity, and also the efficiency of mining. I mean, Genesis Mining developed their own hive management system where they can manage tens and tens of thousands of rigs, primarily from a handy, you know, from their smartphone. If a board goes down, they can know exactly what row it is, where it is, and see it. So their monitoring systems, just like the Germans, are very good at this. They have the best, I would say, the best in the world.
Very, very true, mate. Now, quick, before you do go, I've just been on our Swiss Gold Global official page, and there's a couple of days ago, there was an article that we put up, the Intercontinental Exchange, which owns the New York Stock Exchange, been developing an online trading platform that allows large investors to buy and hold Bitcoin. So that the headline is, Bitcoin goes to Wall Street, cryptocurrency's newest phase. So it allows, the plan signals a shift from financial industry's persuasive mistrust of cryptocurrencies to a cautious entry into mainstream adoption. So for us, Bill, is in the mining, if there's sort of big mainstream adoption coming in, obviously buying and selling, a lot of people buying Bitcoin, the price is going to go up over time. So we're just in that little phase where there's different things happening in the background, and people are having a cautious look and then saying, well, it could be a very good solution. Let's get involved. Would that be the case?
For sure. I mean, if I go back to the dot-com boom of the 1990s, early 2000, Keith, you may remember that. We're about that age group, you and I, that we can remember that. And we're probably invested in it deeply as well, which I was. There's positives and negatives from this. On the good side, these types of market changes clean out the market from really a lot of inefficient companies. I mean, if you look at the 1990s, the dot-com bust, 90% probably companies failed, and only a few companies which still exist today, which are the biggest companies in the world today, Amazon, etc. You know, so at the time, people weren't really looking at them that much. But here it is today, 20 years later plus, 30 years later plus, one of the biggest companies in the world. But that clean out of the price or the crash in the market price at that particular, I'm not saying that Bitcoin has crashed. I mean, it's only 18 months ago, it was under $1,000. It went up to nearly $20,000. Now it's back down around the $6,000 mark. You know, so it depends what you look at. It's had a volatile ride. But one of the big things that has certainly influenced it, I believe, is the adoption of the Chicago Board Options Exchange and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is the largest trading platforms in the world, where people can speculate on the price of Bitcoin, whether it's going up or going down. So more people believe that the price is a bit soft and the temperature's coming out of the market, they're going to sell the market short, which is going to drive the price down. They don't even own a Bitcoin, these people. It's like betting on a racehorse. They don't have to own a racehorse, but you can bet on it. This is what the Wall Street, in one sense, the Wall Street does. They're just betting on which way the market's moving, and this does. I have no doubt about this. This does actually have an influence on it. But as Bitcoin becomes more greatly understood around the world and is adopted, and certainly the adoption in countries, you know, big countries like Nigeria, nearly 200 million people, where infrastructure and banking is not for all people. I mean, there's nearly 2 billion people in the world who don't have a bank account. We don't have access to easily free banking in one respect. So for these people, Bitcoin, such low fees, it is low fees now. That end of last year, we experienced the fees becoming excessively high, and it really defeated the whole purpose of Bitcoin. Bitcoin came to the marketplace because it's decentralized. It was also meant to be an efficient and low fee transaction. Well, that's actually, it fell out of that sort of criteria until the Lightning Network came online. And now, I mean, I do transactions. We pay out, you know, Treasury pays out people around the world in Bitcoin. and we see the transaction fees just a number of cents. It doesn't cost much at all. It's very, very quick. I mean, it's fantastic. So for people in these parts of the world, it must be a real blessing for them that they can actually transact, send money to and from their family. I mean, in Dubai, for example, there's nearly 1 million Filipinos working there. They do the hard lifting in the UAE, to be quite honest. They do a lot of service providing work. Many of them only get to go, and Indians and Pakistanis as well, they don't get to go home all that often. So they stay there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. They just work, because the opportunity income's a bit higher there. They'll send probably 80% of their income back to support their extended family back home, which is fantastic. And they can send back, before they would use one of the traditional exchanges, which is quite costly. Now they can actually send back with Bitcoin, a number of cents. So it's very, very cost effective for them in one sense, you know. So the adoption of Bitcoin, I mean, Claudia, she'll speak about this anyway. She just came back from Prague and the Czech Republic. People in the Central Europe, they're also pretty advanced. They understand currencies very well. They understand the danger of what can happen to a currency. We never experienced that, Keithy, in Australia. We've been blessed in one sense, haven't we? Have we ever experienced a currency crash in Australia? I mean, if you live in Australia, which is a long way from everything and everyone primarily, which makes it truly unique and very special, but you don't have to worry about cross-border currency so much. If you're living and you're earning your income in Australia, Australian dollars, and you're just paying in Australian dollars, it really, to you in one respect, doesn't really matter what the US dollar or euro might be doing, because you're never actually having to use it because you're in your own little bubble of world in one sense. But living in a complex society such as Asia, or let's say we've got many cross borders, different currencies, even in Europe, of course, that can have a huge effect on your way that you live in one respect. So these people, they understand that much better than what I did. I mean, this is something I've had to learn over many years, because I was certainly naive when it came to foreign currencies. My idea of learning, I've got to go to this call in 1 minute actually. My idea, how I started getting engaged with this in 1980 as a young 21-year-old, I flew to America and I exchanged some Aussie dollars to American dollars, and I got more Australian dollars than what I did for the American dollar. I started thinking, who sets the rules here? Who's the game player here? And it got me thinking about world currencies, and that's really, it started my path onto understanding how the monetary system actually works. Then I certainly, today, it's done, there's no question about it today, the monetary system is done by design to transfer wealth away from you, without a doubt. And there's much smarter people than me, great economists, that have that in writing, that it's done by inflation to transfer wealth away from you back to the central banking and central institutions in one sense. So having diversification, understanding the monetary system, understanding how to build wealth and preserve wealth, having multiple sources of income that we offer through Swiss Gold Global, not just the crypto side, and be able to preserve some of your wealth in gold, a small amount in gold and silver, is a damn good thing to do, because it's also very highly liquid. But I'm going to go to this call. Have a great call. So I've got to rush.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We'll look forward to catching up in the next week or so, and just before you come out to Australia too, mate. So thanks for your input, Bill. As always, have a good call.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, that was Bill Rowell, the owner and CEO of the company. And if I can paraphrase what he said, that, you know, we're in a bit of a downturn at the moment. Our contracts are still paying. Lloyd, your ones that you bought in December 2016 at 35 cents, maintenance fee there. That maintenance fee stays there. Now, what I did with mine, g'day, Claudia. I'll quickly say g'day to you. Always great to have you on. You've driven back from Prague. How far away is that from where you are?
Hi, Kitty. Well, I didn't drive back from Prague. I drove back from my family, which lives in the east, because I came from East Germany, so it was like 5 hours. Prague, from where I originally lived, is 2 hours away. In
central Queensland, people drive 5 hours to go shopping. They live in the outback. But a lot of the contracts that I bought last year, as soon as I got the profit into my wallet, then I just bought another contract. So what I heard Bill say right when I joined the company over a year ago was to compound my profit. So I took the profit and then bought more contracts, and took that profit and bought more and bought more and bought more. So I've made 4 or 5 times the amount of money through compounding from what I've actually bought in contracts. I've compounded my profit. So hopefully, Lloyd, you've done the same. but that was a great question. And it's good to know the majority of us from February 2017 onwards are the 28 cents per terahash maintenance fee. We haven't even got down to that yet. So that's great news. And the new ones, I bought one new one so far at 14 cents. That's even better to get a return on. And Bitcoin's just jumped again, 4% today, 4.63. So we just need my hope and understanding is that we only really need 1 or 2% per day for just to slowly edge up. And our contracts, it's one part of our business, and that's what I want to talk to you about today, Claudia, one part of our business, and we've got 3 or 4 other parts as well. Your thoughts on Bitcoin's at 61.51 at the moment, and these great articles in our main Facebook page. There's some great stuff there, some really, really informative stuff that everyone needs to. I'll share it onto the corporate group because people need to sort of hear that as well. But what's your thoughts at the moment? What's happening at the moment?
Well, okay, so I have many thoughts, obviously, on Bitcoin. I'm actually right now on my phone. I'm going to show this to you guys a little bit later on. I'm going to post it up. So, I mean, you got to look at many different things in Bitcoin. It's not just like the volatility. It is the adoption. How is the adoption rate? So I just came back from Prague, and Bill told a little bit there. So, right now, of course, there's still a lot of people who don't know how to use it, who don't really do payments with it. It's still foreign. So, yes, they have heard about it, but they really don't know. So I was with my family from East Germany there. They, of course, had no idea. But the first time they saw how I did actually do a payment in Litecoin. Actually, I paid them for some coffees and whatever we had there in Litecoin, because you could only pay in cryptocurrencies there in Monero, Litecoin, Bitcoin, I think, and a Dash. So that was a quite interesting experience. But then they said, well, why would I do that? Why? You said it's still foreign, the concept, to why not use the euro, let's say. So back to your question is right now on the Bitcoin system, on the protocol, there are more developers working than ever before. There's more qualified people on working on getting that greater adoption, on getting that usability, that users have a very easy ability basically to use Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis. That's been worked on, and I believe from what I heard from the core developers is they are, of course, it's still going to take some time, but from where they were when Satoshi launched the white paper to where they are at now is just absolutely massive. Now, the other hand side, there came a lot of Lamborghini people on board, of course, last year. You know, there was those folks who posted on their Facebook, triple your Bitcoin earnings or whatever, make $1 million in the next 30 days. And all those people, well, this is a little bit getting wiped out right now because we have a 71% since the peak. In December, we are 71% down right now. But then when we look at, of course, the statistics again, and we look at, okay, so how does it compare with the other major Bitcoin crises we had in the past? And this is where I have here some percentage. So when we look at the 14th of September 2010 to the 8th of October 2010, a Bitcoin dropped 94%. Okay, and it stayed 24 days in that, and it needed 40 days to reach a new high. Then the next major drop was on the 6th of 11 in 2010 to the 10th of 11 in 2010. It stayed 4 days in this down, and it took 86 days to get to new heights. Then the next major breakdown was in 11, and then the next major of 94%, it went, Bitcoin actually failed, or not failed, Bitcoin went down 94% on the 8th of June 2011 until the 7th of 11. So from basically, this was how many days? 162 days in 2011, and it came down to 94%, and it took another 600 31 days to reach new high. That's over 2 years, isn't it? Or almost 2 years. Then it was in 13. And so all the people which I talk to and analysts, they say they look this very comparison with the year in 2013 when it came down like 85%. And it stayed there for 410 days till it reached, of course, that new heights. So we had major setbacks, but with a major setback, we always had a higher high. So with those major setbacks in all of, and you have them, I mean, I will post them. So there's many, there's how many I can count here. Let me just count quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, now we're on the 12th. We're on the 12th downturn of Bitcoin, the 12th.
12th in 10 years. So it's more than one major correction per year.
I mean, you know, that's 12 times. And every time reached a higher high than before. So, you know, when we look at the statistic now, you know, this is okay. It's a major downturn. We are 71% down from its peak. But again, like lots of people getting washed out. And I'm going to keep buying. I'm going to keep hodling. I'm going to keep believing in the project because the project is ever more ready than it was ready a few years ago, than it was just a half year ago. The project is ever more ready now. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, for the contracts, we're still in the okay phase, and that's of course the ones which bought the first 2 months in 2016. But the most of the contracts were, of course, purchased later, so we are still in the we are not even yet in the zone that the countdown is basically running. So I'm a positive skeptic.
Yes, yes. Now I noticed with my payments they dropped dramatically last week. I just asked Bill about that. He said put a support ticket in. Maybe Genesis had some issues. I know in the back office we
cannot hear you.
Claudia, yeah, I'm just got some noise in the background here. It's not got 2 dogs in there trying to, and a couple of people here as well. I lost my train of thought. What I was trying to say here. The contracts 28 cents. They are still paying out. They haven't reached that dip. And even they go in the dip under 28 cents and they bounce back again, then they'll back to the reset to paying and back to the 0 days under the profitability. The great thing about the new contracts, 14 cents for 5 years, and doing what I'm doing, I'm starting to buy those as well. Again, compounding as the price goes up. If we come out of this dip again back into the highs, we've got to hit 20,000 again. Obviously, we've got to hit the previous high to go even higher. Maybe it won't happen this year. I've got the feeling we'll get out to about 12, 13, 14, 15,000, somewhere around there. Maybe as we're getting into 2019. A lot of people I've spoken to who have been involved with cryptocurrency for over 3 years have said, what's happened last year was just crazy. And 2018 is a bit of a woo, slow down and a bit of a recovery. What's actually going on here type of year. And then once people settle down and understand, and there's new talk about big business, big end of town putting millions of dollars into Bitcoin, then it'll start slowly on the up again towards the end of the year. And then 2019 will again be a breakout, is what I get from a feeling from a lot of people. We're in a very good position here with people who've actually bought contracts in the last 9, 12 months here in Swiss Gold Global. We're in a great position because we have that hash power locked away, open-ended contracts. And if we sort of understand that it'll just kick on again and our contracts will start paying a bit more and a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. We've got open-ended contracts, which is absolutely brilliant. whether you just take your profit or you compound or whatever, or you buy some other contracts from another coin once they become available. We're in a good position, but we also have the other parts of our business. We've got the ICOs coming up, which Bill hasn't told us about yet because he's just getting the legalities completely sorted out correctly from those. And then we've got our gold and silver part of the business, plus the affiliate part of the business. So there's a lot of positivity within the company of the opportunity to earn part-time passive income that we really need to have a proper look at. And the articles in our main Facebook page, they're fantastic. They're really, really good, inspirational pieces of information that we need to spread around to as many people as we possibly can. First off, it'll tag Swiss Gold Global as the authority where they've got the information from, and it also gives you the opportunity to be seen in the light of knowing what's going on in this industry, because like you say, not many people do. People have heard the name Bitcoin. I speak to 15 to 20 people a day when I'm out and about, and everyone, just about everyone, except the really, really older people like me, haven't heard of Bitcoin, or some people have heard of it, or they have a different name for it. I just met a couple of Taiwanese girls. They call it, it's not called Bitcoin, it's called B2B, B2B or something like that, in the Chinese version of what Bitcoin is. I didn't understand Bitcoin, but B2B, something like that. And they're all eyes lit up. They heard about it, but they didn't understand it still. So we're in a great phase. So what I want to tap into your brain is that you're going to do a screen share, were you, of something then?
I was just about to show the Alice Comp calculator, so how they can see that their contract is still profitable. Basically, I was just doing that, so just showing people when they go to Alice Comp here, so they see they put in 1 terahash, because we know 1 terahash is 20. The former contracts where the most of the contracts were 28 cents, right, per terahash. So it's pretty simple. You go where 1 terahash, you calculate, and you see still you're on a profit. So you still, the maintains hasn't exceed yet your earnings. So you're still basically in a, so as of the Bitcoin price today, you are still in basically in the earnings. So if you would then calculate it, let's say you put down, I think it's now like 5.7, something like that. Then you are, okay, you're still in the earnings. Let's say you put in 5.6. So it goes down to 5,006. Okay, then we start basically being, so it would have to drop another $500, a little bit more, $600. It would have to drop in order to be at the, that basically it's the same as the maintenance fee. That's how they just basically can calculate it again. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a very good calculator. That's an awesome, the Alice Comp. But if it dropped down to 5,600 American, but as soon as it went back up to 5,700 or 5,800, the earnings would go above 28 cents per terahash, and therefore that 60-day period, that just goes back to zero. So it's up and down, So we're in a great situation.
Correct.
Yeah, so now we've had a great sort of chat with Bill. It's good to have him on video and audio at the same time. Now, you and Bill are coming to Australia in July, which is it's 25th of what is it? June. June now. So the first meeting we're having in Melbourne, and I just want to get this message out to everybody. We've got Lloyd's in London, Team Biggs in London. No, where are you, Lloyd? You're in Somerset. Sorry, Michelle's here. Doug's in Toowoomba in Queensland. So we've got a number of people all over the world. If you know someone who's in Australia, they need to come and meet Bill and Claudia face to face. Now, I've got Facebook groups, events set up in our main Facebook group, Swiss Gold Global Corporate Facebook group. Now, I'm going to give those details to Bill, so they'll appear. Those events will appear in the in your back office when you log into Swiss Gold Global website. So that'll appear there. So you can actually click on the link and send the link to some of your contacts out here, because what a great situation for anyone you know who's maybe interested in learning about cryptocurrency, gold, silver, and ICOs, to be able to talk to the owner of the company and talk to you, Claudia, #1 affiliate, about how that affiliate plan works. How do you make your earnings on a daily basis, a weekly, monthly, yearly basis within the company? What did you do to get into the situation you're in now? People want to know that face to face, and it's a fantastic opportunity. So Saturday, 21st of July, which is 5 weeks this Saturday, Claudia, you'll be here in Australia. So that's in Melbourne. Bring a coat. It'll be a little bit winterish down here. And then we go to Sydney, which is not a little bit better, on Tuesday the 24th. And then we come up to Brisbane here on Sunday the 29th. It'll be nice and warm up here in Brisbane when you get up here. And then we finish on Tuesday the 31st on the Gold Coast, which would be fantastic. We'll all go for a swim and do a bit of surfing. I'll get a few shots live, Facebook Live of that. But yeah, coming to Australia and speaking directly to people, there's no better way to understand a company than going to events. So when was the last event you went to, Claudia?
The last event I went to was actually a couple of weeks ago in Germany, and then the last and before that, the last event I think we did in Panama.
Panama, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, no, Colombia.
And what was the response by meeting people face to face? They got a much clearer picture, a better understanding of the business by speaking to you directly.
Of course, this business is built offline, not online, as I always say. I mean, online is great. It's a great tool, add-on, awesome. But it is nothing like meeting somebody offline. No, nothing. I mean, there's nothing. Look, you can't make babies in the internet.
Yeah, all right. Well, we don't want to go down that track. It's a family show, Claudia. Yeah, but you're true. You can't do that on the internet. No, you're definitely right. Right. So that's
German humor, you see?
Yeah, German humor. Okay, good. All right, good on you, Claudia. Fantastic. Now, here's a tip. I get to meet people who are the same mindset of me. I go to meetup groups. Now, I don't know whether people well, meetups are all around the world, so it's a worldwide organisation. Just need to Google meetups, and there'll be people in your local area. And the one I've got going is in Australia. I've got meetup, Bitcoin mining. What's the one I've called my one? I'll just go to it right now. Bitcoin mining passive income meetup. So that's the one I've called here in Brisbane. But then we go to the Gold Coast. I've got the same thing happening in Sydney. So. But I also like going to the ones that are like blockchain meetups, or network marketing meetups as well. And you mentioned a great opportunity as well to go to real estate ones, where people actually, their business is about talking to people and they get paid by commission. So they're the ideal people who want to get involved in a business like ours, Swiss Gold Global. Get a benefit of gold, silver, cryptocurrency mining, ICOs coming on, but also the affiliate program. So it's absolutely brilliant the way we can interact with people just in our local area by going along to a meeting that somebody else has organised. And you just go along with a bunch of cards and say, "G'day, how you going?" And they said, "Oh, what do you do, Keith?" I said, "Well, I'm a cloud miner." And they said, "What, cloud miner? What's that?" And then you explain to them the business, and I'm an affiliate, and I talk to people and blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, you've got half a dozen people interested in your business. And then, as you've done so successfully well, Claudia, you just keep talking to them and help them to succeed, and you succeed big time.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a good friend of mine. She was actually a fighter jet pilot, Elizabeth McCormick. She wrote some good books. When she started networking, she would go to 3 events a week. That's 3 events a week, and she would get business cards. So she would collect business cards. She would make a good impression there, talk to people, be chatty, but listening more than talking. And that's the way she's always talking about that. Then I have another friend. He wrote the book, Jordan Adler, Beach Money. He talks about his career, how he built it, and that is on BNIs, business meetings. So like those meetup groups like you do. This is just perfect place to build the business, to meet contacts, make new contacts, because there's already people going there. They're looking for something. They're looking for a way. They're looking for a business. They're looking for alternatives to what they can do. And so those people are already open-minded. We got to look for people who are already open-minded. We don't need to look for people who are close-minded, who are lazy, who prefer to sit, be couch potatoes. So those people, they're not our interest. We need to look at people who are hungry. That's the word, who are hungry and who wanting more, who are not satisfied with what they have. And if you go to those people, it's way easier to show them what we have to get them interested and excited.
It is. You're absolutely right. We're a 10-year-old company. We've got multiple streams of income inside the business, multiple streams of income. And if you completely understand the business, then it's easy to talk to people about Swiss Gold Global. It gets people excited about having a part-time passive income coming in. We do it through the mining. We do it through the affiliate program. People use their profit and buy $25 lots worth of gold or $25 worth of silver to put away for generational wealth. So if you're listening and you're a little bit unhappy about how the mining is going, your profits have dropped off, and you're thinking, well, what's happening within this business? How can, am I going to look at something else now that will give me an income? As Claudia said, earn $3,000 worth of Bitcoin in 30 days by putting $25 in. It's not going to happen, folks. With any new industry evolving, the crypto industry, there are so many businesses erupting on the internet, and you can see the posts that people are being drawn into these companies. Unfortunately, people that they're on your friends list, and obviously you see their feed on Facebook. I've noticed in the last 3 months or 4 months that those type of posts are increasingly expanding onto my Facebook feed of message me info. Just put info down. Put info. I've got this great program. They don't know the owner. They've never met the owner. They haven't heard the owner speak. They don't know the business behind the business. They don't know how long the company's been going. They don't know the financial setup of the business. They don't know the long-term plans of the business plan of the actual how it's operated on. They've just heard some or watched some video and taken a punt and then trying to get people in so they can earn some money off their commission. That's all it is. And that's what people are grasping at straws. And we want fantastic people in our Swiss Gold Global business. And people watching are taking the time to watch us here now. And all the people that you need to share this link out to people that are interested in your business. Go to some meetup meetings. Go to your local business development meetings in your local town or your local city or local suburb. And like Claudia says, just like her friend, just hand out business cards. That's your first business tool, is just go and get a bunch of these. You can get these for 500 or 200. There's a company in Australia, if you put your first order in for 250 of them, you get them for free. You don't have to pay for your first 250. So imagine giving 250 cards out, 250 people, and getting 5% of that. 10% is 25, 12 people joining your business. You can run your affiliate program on 5 people and make a huge income if you help those 5 people. So you can start for nothing really with your business cards and just go to meetings that someone else is organizing. You don't have to do anything. You just turn up as an attendee, because everyone wants to know what everyone else is doing, and collect business cards and set up your own little email group of keeping people updated. And then the other tip is just go to our main Facebook page and share the links on these articles that we're putting up daily to help members. Daily information going out to members, which is staggering. And then the other thing I really like, Claudia, is our Instagram account. Those images are absolutely fantastic. Now, you've got a marketer, haven't we? You've got a full-time marketer doing that.
Yes, we do, yeah.
They are some awesome images that we can just use because they're all got branded. They're already branded with Swiss Gold Global down the bottom. So I use those all the time. They're just fantastic. Really good images. And that's what we need as a professional company. We need those images. Now, a couple of people, just to finish off, because we've gone over the hour. I know you only jumped on late, but the roller, this is a roll-up right behind me. On our website, if you go into the back office under the training part, you can access the code or the file. So you can go to your local print shop and get these done, right? But this particular one, this is a really good one. That's not in the back office. So
no, I don't think so. They just need to send an email to contact@swissgoldglobal.com and they will get the image.
Okay, all right. So if you want to use this, you know, these are the roll-up types. So fold up into a little tube. They got their own package. I'll be taking it to Melbourne and Sydney with me when I go down to see you guys. It's really light aluminium. They're about $100 here in Australia. If you provide the image file to the print place, I go to Officeworks, which is a chain here in Australia, and it's about $100. They put it onto that film, and it's got the little pole with the thing up on. You just pop up anywhere you like. You can put it in a little tube, and you can turn up somewhere and just go bang, Swiss Gold Global, wherever you are, as long as you don't get caught in some shopping centre where you have to pay to be somewhere. But yeah, you just get something like this and start your own little meetings or your business cards. There are business cards in the back office too, the Swiss Gold Global ones. You can just insert your name. So everything's there for you in the back office, which is sensational. Looking forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks, Claudia. We'll probably chat well before then. Any parting words of wisdom about what's happening?
Well, some parting words of wisdom. I want to look at what foundation you guys are building. Are you in for the long term? Are you in for the short term? I'm looking always for long-term players. I mean, I think Les Brown said it one day. He said, you either win by building the biggest building in town or by tearing everyone else down. And so when you have those people on Facebook who say, well, mining is not profitable at the moment right now, go do this, do that. What they are doing is they're really tearing everyone else building down. And what's happening is with those people, this is really a true sign of insecure player who basically often just wins short term. We are looking for people who are really true long-term winners, and you become a true long-term winners by building your foundation, by digging deep in your fund. When you build a house, you know, you got to dig deep, you got to build that foundation, and the foundation just takes a little bit longer, but then it takes off so fast. You wonder, well, where was it all the time? Why did it take so long to build that fundament? So that's just what I would encourage you guys. We are here since 10 years. Certainly gold is now being talked more as well because of what's happening with the currency. So we are here for the long term. I believe Bitcoin will be here for the long term. This business system, Bill, will be here for the long term. We have many projects coming up. So get to these meetings in Australia and, really look at why are you here? Are you looking for a short-term gain or for a long-term win?
Yeah, okay, fantastic. It always way. Thank you, Claudia, once again. Great thanks to Bill for being on and giving us a bit of insight what's going on as well. Have a great week, folks. It's 25th of June. Next week is July. We're into the next half of the year, the second half of the year already. It is going very, very quickly. So good things are happening with us. Stay strong, stay positive, and thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for the comments. And we'll see you on the next one. And for all of you folks out there, I'll put the links up in the back office through Bill of the event links for Australia. And we'll hope to see you out there at one of our meetings in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, or the Gold Coast. Great, guys. See you on the next one. Have a great week. Bye-bye.